Hello and welcome to the Boise State Esports Arena as we continue our coverage of the Power Esports Conference second semester for the Boise State Super Smash Bros. Team. Now last week we checked in on the team. Although they had already played a couple of games, we were able to see how they were stacking up and we came out with an ultimate victory. Tonight we're going to be able to watch them continue, check in on some of the games that they've previously competed on that we haven't watched ourselves, and see how this season has been going for the Boise State Broncos. My name is Audrey Norris, calling all the action with Bryce Jensen as we get into these games. Now, the game that we watched last week was really interesting because, as you and I were talking about before the stream was getting on, we noticed the amount of characters and character swap outs from the opposing team was kind of insane for Super Smash Bros. I think what we said was we saw like 4 characters at the beginning and we only saw 1 or 2 of those in the next matchup. Like they had swapped out the roster almost completely during the second series.
Yeah, and it was all characters that we really hadn't seen before this matchup. Like the Mii Brawler pick coming out of absolutely nowhere. I mean, I haven't seen any of the Mii characters at all in my entire time of casting Super Smash Bros. And granted, that is not a very long time, but still, not seeing it before is something that it was definitely a really big surprise, especially because we get a little bit of an insight as to what everybody plays when it comes to their favorite characters. So we kind of have an idea of what people are going to play, and then they flip them all on their
I know.
heads.
We were expecting a lot of characters, that we saw. We're like, okay, well, we might see, we knew that we might see Min Min, which we did see, but then we're like, oh, they've got all these other characters, and then we're like, well, these matchups will be really interesting. Then, nope, swap up, different thing. But with that ended up not going the way of the opposing team last week. Last week, Boise State was able to take it 2-0. So with that idea, character swap-ups, we saw a lot of characters. Are there any characters that you might be interested in seeing or strategies different from the week previously, or things that just, on our bingo card of things we might see in the Smash Bros. Season that you would like to see in these next matchups?
It's really unrealistic, but I really like watching the Street Fighter characters go up against Super Smash Bros. It's just 2 very different fighting styles from both games. Super Smash Bros. Is more floaty, it's more in the air, focuses a lot more on the aerial combo side of things. However, when you move over to Street Fighter, it's all about precise button pushing. You gotta be able to hit all your specific combos, all of your left, right, up, down, B, A, start combos, and learn the breakers. So it's a very different matchup, and I don't think we'll see it because, unfortunately, the 2 do not really mesh very well in the favor of Street Fighter, but they are really fun to watch all the time. But if we're going to go into this, players need to be able to sort of swap up their play style to match their opponent.
Yeah, and if you want to be able to swap up your play style and figure out ways to play better, then the keys to the game are the way to go. And in Super Smash Bros., that is to punish openings, roll to dodge, win and neutral, and remember remember to taunt. It's all about that timing and making sure to gain your opportunities. And speaking of opportunities, if you're an esports fan, while you're here cheering for the best team in gaming, let us introduce you to the MVPs of painting, Blue Ribbon Painting. With over 90 years of combined experience, we're proud to be Boise's go-to team of local multi-generational painters who know exactly how to level up your home. Ready to transform your space? Visit blueribbonpainting.net to schedule your free estimate. Thank you to Blue Ribbon Painting. They are the sponsors for the keys to the game.
And we're glad to have them because, I mean, even though I'm not the one playing, I still need some of these keys just to kind of understand what's all going on. Super Smash Bros. Is one of the fastest games we have here. Anything can change on a dime. And from the looks of things, we're going to be seeing the new Super Smash Bros. Player, Mata, playing Richter. We did see a little bit of Richter last week against Syracuse, and it did work out in the favor of Boise State, so it'll be interesting to see how that sort of continues going into a Palutena, Falco, Ridley, and Kazuya. That might change, it might not.
Yeah,
we
we
saw
never
it change
know, right?
a lot last week.
Right, yeah, we were caught off guard every now and again. But one thing, you were talking about the Street Fighter characters and the precise inputs. Well, you might get a little bit of that with the Kazuya there. Not exactly, we'll see.
The Kazuya is kind of cheating when it comes, because, I mean, all you got to do is hold the A button, and then it does that 10-step combo for you. But starting us off, we're going in Palutena v. Palutena. Two controller characters playing on the same field. This will be interesting to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, I mean, this will be one of those matchups that we're going to get right into, as well as it is the determiner to see where the momentum will go for the Spartans or the Broncos. And right now, BSU taking some punishment here as Michigan has been able to hold down the line, but Boise State jumping back onto the stage is not going to go down easy here.
Yeah, Boise taking a fairly early lead up against Michigan here. Michigan, though, actually, no, I got that messed up.
Lead. It's okay, it's a mirror matchup. It's hard to tell what's going on.
I should just follow the blue. Wait, yeah, the blue one is Boise. That's good.
No. Wait, look.
No. I mean the blue Palutena is Boise. Like the actual
well, that's not
character.
at all.
Yeah, but Boise put on the back foot here. Now has to contend with a Palutena on the edge. Is able to get off onto the stage, but immediately knocked up in the air. Michigan is not giving them an inch, and that's shown with an early stock lead. And Michigan only up to 70. Has a lot of room to work with, and not really in the range of punishment for the Boise State Palutena.
Yeah, Boise State losing their first stock. That is going to be a rough spot to be here, but making some headway onto Michigan State's stock. The zoning battle isn't going as much as it would normally go for Palutena as the fireball goes out, knocking the Broncos off the stage. Spartans looking to capitalize on it are unable to here. As both of them are looking for their opportunity. Both near a knockout zone. This is dangerous for Boise State if they want to be able to take this stock cleanly, as the Spartans are gunning for the second one here already.
Yeah, and with both players at around the same percentage points, they're both at equal. They have the equal shot at being taken out first, and it looks like it's going to go to BSU. They're going to take this down to a 2-2, but at the same time, Boise State in that range where they got to play this a little bit safer. Palutena doesn't do a ton of damage from range, but can catch you off guard with her fireball, which can travel across the stage. And don't even get me started when she moves up close, which Boise found out the hard way. Michigan doesn't manage to hit the grab. Boise evades it just barely, but the back air from atop the stage is going to prevent a recovery. And Michigan is looking to take the second stock, but Boise not going to give it to him easy.
Yeah, 157 on the board for Boise State, holding on as they can, trying to get Palutena into the air. Well, the Spartans into the air. Can't even use the character names right now without it being confusing. Trying to keep them on a back foot here and unsteady. Not going great for Boise State as they are able to get back to the platform. Michigan looking for that opportunity here, using the shields to avoid any of the ranged attacks. Crazy read there from Michigan, knowing that Boise State wants to get back on the ledge for the ledge guard. Knocks them out with the fireball. Boise State down to one stock. Michigan on their second, but at 115. However, they're not letting up, forcing Boise State into a ledge game here.
I mean, usually when you see a ledge guard, you'd expect the opponent to be on the ledge, but no, Michigan was able to do it while they were off. But it does look like Boise State is piling on the pressure right now, up to 140. Boise State has a lot of room to go if they want to keep themselves in this matchup, especially with the Spartans keeping them in the air, not giving them an inch to breathe. Boise needs to find this stock if they want to stay competitive in this matchup, but it is a very small hill to climb. They got this here. It doesn't even matter if Palutena can't win this outright, or I guess I should say the Boise State Palutena. As long as they manage to keep this within one stock, it is still a very good position to be in.
Yeah, we'll have to see where this goes, though. Both of them shielding, trying to look for that opportunity. Boise State, he gets grabbed by the Spartans here. Holding on, we see this could be a dangerous zone for either team. Spartans are within this knockout zone, and Boise State knows it, but they aren't going to be able to get through the shield. Going to be knocked off the ledge. This could be a knockout spot. Michigan reads the teleport. However, Boise State doesn't go down immediately. We get the fake out on that stock loss here, and Boise State is able to get back to the ledge. Now in the middle, avoiding the explosives here. Going to run in for the knockout. Bringing it to a 2-stock lead for the Spartans.
They avoided it once, couldn't quite avoid it twice. That Palutena up air is incredibly strong, especially when you're at as high a percent as that is. That is a early killer, and it's pretty impressive the Boise State Palutena was able to stay on as long as they did, Dr. Delulu. But at the same time, once you get to that range, you really can't stay there as Palutena. You're floaty enough to where you can get the kill fairly easy, but at the same time, it's just a really difficult spot to be in.
Yeah. You know, one thing I do think is very interesting about this match as well is I've talked about mirror matches in the past, right? Like there's the one that I just absolutely hate, which is Marth versus Marth, because it's just not my favorite Fire Emblem character. But, you know, mirror matches in general aren't always interesting because it's just watching the same characters trying to do the same tricks to each other. But actually for Palutena, it ends up changing kind of how they have to fight, because we saw a lot of that attempted zoning and range get thrown out the window in favor for a lot of melee attacks, which makes sense because Palutena has such good defensive capabilities to deal with those ranged. They now have to go back in and kind of get into the good old fist fight in the middle.
I would say that goes for just about everybody aside from the really heavy hand-to-hand combat fighters in Super Smash Bros. Because we've seen it before in games like these. I believe we had a Duck Hunt and a Snake that we were talking about earlier, and that one was definitely an interesting game. But moving into this next matchup, Mata is not going to be playing the Richter, but instead the Pikachu.
Which I have heard that is another character they are comfortable with, so that's going to be a fun matchup to see, getting some Pikachu into the mix of the roster for Boise State here as we jump into this matchup. The Spartans at 2, the Broncos at 3. All Boise State needs to do to try and tie this up is not lose any stocks if they can to knock them out, or at the very least bring it closer.
Yeah,
you already taking some good damage too as well on the board.
I will say Pikachu is one of the better matchups against Palutena. Just such an in-your-face character that can do a ton of damage. Maybe not all at once, but as you can see, in only 2 volleys, Palutena's already at 67, but now Pikachu finds themselves in a pretty precarious situation, but is able to get out of it. Pikachu is one of those characters that really requires a lot of really good combos, and if you can pull those up, Pikachu he's been in the game since the first one of the N64. He's got to be at least a little bit better than some of his contemporaries.
Yeah, and already, as we said, putting on the punishment here for the Spartans, holding them on the ledge and just slowly but surely getting that damage up. The Spartans have not been able to make as much of a dent into Boise State's health pool here. They are going to get the grab off, launching the Broncos onto the ledge. This could be a dangerous spot, but Pikachu is able to get around it here. Kind of with the Spartans backing off. Now it's going to be their turn on the ledge. Will they be able to get back? Well, Palutena's recovery is pretty solid, so they will the first time, but not the second time.
Yeah, the recovery is solid, but unfortunately so is that forward tilt from Pikachu, taking Palutena down to her last stock. But Pikachu is also pretty high up there. He's got to play this a little bit safer, but at the same time, Palutena is one of those characters who's super squishy. This will all come down to if Pikachu can get these combos off in a good amount of time and get themselves this second stock before losing one of their own, and that's probably what's going to determine the winner of this round.
Now, going back to the ledge game, Pikachu able to avoid it once again. Sitting at some high damage numbers, but not backing down here. All Boise State wants is one good opportunity to punish and knock the Palutena completely off their momentum. But so far, they just kind of need to hold on and get the chip damage up as well.
It's all about finding that perfect moment to strike, and in the meantime, getting a few dash attacks in. Definitely couldn't hurt anybody, but that forward tilt from Palutena certainly did. Pikachu now at a very dangerous spot. Downward air.
Knockout, but
almost took him out.
Avoiding the explosion as well.
Ooh, but he doesn't manage it a second time.
Yep, that's just the name of the game. And, you know, as Pikachu did to Palutena, Palutena will do to Pikachu, bringing Boise State down to 2 stocks against the Spartans' 1 stock. Not what you want to see for Boise State, but at the same time, they aren't losing the matchup still. And that is, if anything, you know, a good thing to see.
Definitely, that is what you want to see here. I will say they're still going to be at a deficit, but it's less of one than what it could have been. The Pikachu has been doing pretty well here against Palutena, just unfortunately not really able to secure anything quite yet. The recovery is just a little bit too great out of Palutena to get anything worthwhile out of the ranged attacks, but at the same time, that small amount of chip damage that comes out from Pikachu every now and again, it has been adding up. Palutena now is just a slight breeze away from being sailed straight off the stage.
Yeah, all we need is one good attack.
Ooh,
there
yeah.
it is. Just as the first stock was taken, Pikachu will take another, giving Boise State a bit closer room to work with, not fully in the lead now, but 1 stock difference between Michigan State and Boise State now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot better than 2. I mean, 1 is a long ways away from 2, almost as long as it is from 0. But at the same time, it's not an insurmountable lead. We've seen teams come back from it. We've seen teams lose it. We've seen teams gain it. We've even seen a 5-stock comeback out of Boise State last semester. So just about anything is possible with this team. And we haven't quite seen everything out of Mata yet. We've seen a lot out of them. We saw a lot last week with the Simon. We've seen a little bit with Pikachu. We got a slight glimpse, but we don't know quite what they're capable of. And seeing how the Spartans are going to react to this tiny little electric mouse that can really just kind of get in and get out, deal a ton of damage, and even if you don't get caught in a combo, that's still like 15 to 20% every single time you whiff a dodge on one of his dash attacks.
Yeah, I agree. It took me a while to process, like, the first thing you said about the distance between 2 and 0. I don't know why, but my brain just kind of ejected everything you said at that point. But I do agree, like, on the point, like, it's not a unsurmountable thing. And realistically speaking, 1 stock is like the bare minimum of what's happened, unless you're tying back to back, right? Which is also really uncommon. This is still anyone's game. It's not in any side's favor right now. Michigan State does have a little bit more of a comfort zone than Boise State does, but with that 1 stock difference, you're not really doing much. You really only ever can be like, oh yeah, we're doing really well, is if you have at least a character under your opposing opponent.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be the deciding factor, who gets up that 3 stocks first. And then it also kind of sets the tempo of, you can counterpick me, but by the time we get to our final characters, I will have the final counterpick against you. So it's really about just trying to keep yourself in this game, force your opponent into an uncomfortable position, and then try to capitalize on that. And being in the end, if you're the one who's able to counterpick for that last fight, you have a massive advantage. But it looks like we're going into a electric-based battle with Ness and Pikachu. Ness, a character that we haven't seen. I don't think I've seen yet.
Oh, I've seen Ness. But PK Fire is burned into my brain.
I think it's burned into every single Melee player's brain.
Oh, it's the Battle of the Lightning. My first thought was just, what do you mean? It's PK Fire. That's
PK
the one
Fire
here.
is the only fire move he has. Everything else is like electric.
But all you ever hear is PK Fire. The other ones are always drowned out by all the chaos. As we can already see, back and forth here, Pikachu not wanting to mess with that at all, going to launch Ness off the map, but Ness not deterred just yet here, looking for their opportunity to get some attacks in, using, as I was saying earlier, PK Fire to get some chip damage in and some space as well.
Although I will say, fire is technically energy. So
I mean, everything is technically energy, just in a different state.
a different state. What would it matter if it's in Florida or Massachusetts?
I don't know. We'll have to see maybe if these two different states of energy, you know, Michigan and Boise, I suppose, which one's energy will end up being better. So far, Boise State has been able to get more damage off, but Michigan does have the comfort zone of the additional stock in this matchup over catching them off guard when they go for the PK fire. Pikachu has been able to really just keep the damage off of themselves and more onto the Ness.
And that's what you want in this matchup. Ness is a very floaty character, just like Pikachu. Both of these characters excel at some similar things, but that was a lot. That was kind of nerve-wracking if you're this Ness player. Getting up to 130 is not a great spot for being so floaty. And Ness doesn't exactly have the best recovery in the game, so he gets off the stage, and that is almost a death sentence for him unless he's able to get something done. But as you can see there with the yo-yo, he's able to guard that ledge really safely and just kind of keep it in a great spot to propose a really great threat, but Pikachu hasn't been able to get back onto stage quite yet, and just like I was saying earlier, Yo-Yo does come out. Both characters are at around the same threat level, and Pikachu needs to find something quick, and it looks like he found it. Up throw, finds the first stock, bringing it to even.
Yeah, good grab there, Boise State, though it took a lot to get there, and they might just get the same done to them as we were talking about earlier. Ness getting the grab and going to throw them up, knocks Pikachu down to 1 stock, now 2-1. Kind of just evening the board out once again.
Evening the board out for this game, maybe, but keeping the lead up for Michigan. Pikachu here needs to find at least one more in order to keep Boise State at that -1 stock count towards the Spartans. But I think it is 100% possible. He just needs to find a way to get in. This Pikachu needs to get in there, do some electric mouse things, and get him up really high, just like we saw in the last one, but actually close it out before finally almost succumbing to a ton of percentage. And that's the thing that Ness does really well, is that spin back. Being able to take what seems like a deficit and just say, you can't go on the stage anymore. But Pikachu doing something similar to last round, getting Ness up to a pretty high percentage, but unable to find the combos needed in order to keep him uncomfortable.
Yeah, staying fairly even here and in the middle, both teams looking for their opportunity. Ness might have found one. Pikachu going off the ledge again, and the yo-yo out for the denial. Pikachu on their last stock and at high percentages. This is a dangerous spot, but they're able to make something of it. The Broncos getting back onto the stage, now trying to deny Ness really any recovery here. Ness is able to launch him back off. The Spartans are gunning for that stock if they can get it, and Pikachu's going to be launched into the air once more. This could be the knockout zone. Good shield keeping Pikachu alive. Mata holding on for a little bit longer. Oh, dangerous spot for both teams, but the Broncos are in the worst one right now. Last stock and so high. Look at that. Ness is going to get almost a knockout, but we're going to be faked out once more. So Ness is going to need to work a little bit harder for that stock if they want it.
Yeah, this
Pikachu is not letting them have it.
This one isn't going to come easy, especially with that DI. Was able to get it up there, and with the up A, manages to even things out 1-1, even if he does go down here, which he unfortunately may. Oh no! Another fake out! Man, holding on for dear life for number 3, third time's the charm. Ness is going to take this round.
I feel like the second time that happens, you're just like, okay, come on. You know,
you're just playing with your food at that point.
Oh, I don't even know if it's that. Is it just more of a, you're like, I want them out, but they're not going out. It's just the, why won't you go down?
Yeah, you could see it on the face of our penguin on the desk, Dale.
That's what
he was not very impressed.
Knockout. Yeah. He's like, I could have knocked them out first try.
Yeah, he's like, I could have done it. I could have done it at 0%, 0 to death 3 times.
Yep. Yep, I would have just comboed them out of oblivion, obviously. This is why he's not a character in Smash Bros. It would be too much.
I think that's the guy from Teamfight Tactics, actually. I have never played Teamfight Tactics, but I have seen the logo. And there's a cute little penguin on there.
Yes, there's a penguin with a crown and a sword, and that's all I really know about him. I don't play League, or I've only ever played Valorant. That's the only Riot game I've played.
Yeah, I've never played League or Teamfight either, but I'd buy a plushie. Just saying, Riot, if you're watching, I'd take a plushie. If you got one, a plushie, yeah. But moving back into a more relevant
commentary.
game.
Yeah, it was like great commentary for Smash Bros. Here.
Yeah.
As our 1 stock Ness is going to be going up against Boise State's Olimar.
Yeah.
Probably one of the better matchups that Olimar has gotten, I think, at least when it comes to like percentages. I know that like a lot of the matchups I've watched for him recently has just been a lot of characters that can take a lot of punishment, but this time around, another floaty character he gets to contest with, though the PK Fire will definitely be a problem. We see the Pikmin go out, racking up the damage as well onto Ness here. That PK Fire definitely hurts, but if they can hold on and get the stock knockout, they can tie up the game.
Although I will say, Ness just confirmed something that I did have a question about, and that is if his down special is able to absorb Pikmin. For those of you who don't know, Ness has the ability to absorb projectiles and heal himself. So usually those projectiles are energy-based, so it makes sense. But Pikmin are also projectiles that I guess technically are energy-based.
Yeah, we just talked about this. Everything is energy just in some form.
Yeah, it makes a bit of sense, but yes, he can. He
What do
doesn't
you mean
destroy
it makes
him,
a
though.
bit of sense? That's science.
Yes, it's science and video games. Only some video games have science, but I mean, in our time yapping about energy, both players are in the knockout zone, and Olimar is going to be at the wrong end of a PK Fire, taking him down first. But all he needs to do is find one on Ness, but the double PK Fire, it's just too much to overcome. But a purple Pikmin and a Dream is going to allow him to take that stock.
In purple Pikmin, we trust.
Yes, in purple Pikmin.
And with the little Pikmin walking around, Olimar is able to clean up the matchup. Not tie, unfortunately, for Boise State. They are still stuck at that one stock deficit, but clearing the Ness off the board still gives them room and keeps them at the character level. So they both still have two characters, though I will be curious to see who the Spartans choose to bring against Olimar. Right now we see on the board it could be a Ridley or a Corin, which both would be interesting characters for Olimar. Olimar dealing with Ridley is just a character that can take so much punishment that it takes a really long time to stack up that damage, and Corin being a Corin, yeah, you know. Well, the characters with swords have the benefit of it's easy to knock out the Pikmin because, oh no, what do I do? Just
stab.
Yeah, just poke.
Make
and
a Pikmin kebab.
You know, if you, Pikmin kebab.
Pikmin. Wouldn't that just be like a vegetable kebab? Because like Pikmin
I
in
don't know
the
enough
game
about Pikmin lore.
Because like Pikmin in the lore are just plants.
I mean, yeah, that's right, because you pull them out of the ground.
Yeah, because like you plant the
it's still
seeds.
a kebab.
Yeah, it would be a
You could do vegetable.
But we are going to see the Corin matchup. I think it would be a little funnier if they chose the Ridley because
Ridley could also kebab.
Yeah,
it's the battle of will Boise State get kebabbed? I guess I don't know. We'll find out if Boise State can get through the Corin.
If Corin will make themselves a delectable meal out of Pikmin. But from the looks of things, Olimar is doing a better job at staying on the stage, even if Corin has gotten a little bit more damage off. The Olimar pick is just getting just destroyed by the Corin combos. That's the thing about Corin. A lot more range than what you'd expect out of a sword fighter from Fire Emblem.
Well,
outside of like Byleth,
Yeah. Dragon moment, though, that's all we need to say on Corin, at least for why they would have some range. And unfortunately for Boise State, the amount of damage that they racked up on the stock is going to be the loss of it. And with that, the Spartans are able to increase their lead a little bit here. Will they be able to keep it is the question, as Boise State does have them up to 94%, racking up the damage a little bit more, but Boise State is kind of stuck on the ledge here, not even really getting to the platform, not being really given a lot of room to work with here.
Yeah, the issue of going up against Corin, too, is that they hit like a truck.
Yeah.
And as you just saw there with the back air, even at 80%, floating characters like Olimar are going to struggle, and Corin took full advantage of that. I don't think Corin lost a single stock there.
No, Corin did not lose a single stock there. So with that, what I was talking about earlier, where you really want to have that character lead minimum, Michigan State has now been able to achieve, and with that, Boise State is down to their last character. So if Boise State wants to be able to take this first series in this best of three, Leodog will have to completely sweep through both a Corin and potentially a Ridley.
Yeah, they're going to have to activate Hammer Time and just go on a rampage through two different sets of players, which I can't say is impossible.
It's not unheard of, right? Like, I mean, Leodog is the anchor a lot of times for a reason, but it's still a lot of stocks to work through, especially when you don't have a lot of room to work with. And with the amount of damage that Corden can rack up, as we've talked about before, can be a hard matchup, so we'll have to see how they deal with, and one of the big things will be how they handle the Gordos. As we get into it, Boise State putting on the pressure already. Corden taking a lot of damage, not really able to deal with the Gordos as Leodog gets the first grab off, but Corden turning the tides here a little bit, pushing them back before getting full knockout here, though. Jeez, Leodog really on the Gordo lineups here today. Doing some great damage off of that.
It's really important that Leodog manages to keep their stocks high, though, if they want to keep themselves in this round here. But with Corden already at 140 and really no way to get back on stage, it's going to be a little bit harder to keep stuff going. But oh, the disconnect.
Does that count?
I think that unfortunately counts.
That's so unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
Well, Boise State down to 2 stocks. Corden at...
Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's evened out.
Yeah.
I mean, well, okay. It would be evened out if Corden was the last character. Unfortunately for Boise State, that is still a pretty deadly spot to be. We'll have to see how they handle it going forward here.
Yeah, it's unfortunately a luxury they're not allowed to have in this final character situation. Corden, if it happened to Corden, it would be a little bit better for Boise, but this is...
it wouldn't be as painful, realistically speaking, but for Boise State, it's essentially losing 2 stocks equivalent when we're at a like 6-3 stock difference here. Gordo is on the line, and unfortunately for Boise State, it's going to become much more of a blocker for them than it was for the opponent. JC Leodog able to go through, knock it out, but kind of at a rough spot here.
Oh, knocked out, knocked into his own Gordo there. That is... I don't think I've ever seen someone play around the Gordos as well as I've seen Corden do. I'm not sure if it's all like 100% calculated, like the Gordo on the edge there, but I mean, for the sake of entertainment, let's just say it was all planned. Just like that one. That was a great play out of Corden, but another shot off from DDD almost takes him out. But still, both players are around the same percentage-wise here. Same chance at getting taken out of this game. Both of them are at 2 stocks, but Corden has a little bit more to burn here with an extra player.
And we see here Gordo's going out again. Corden being a little wiser with how they handle it, able to get the jump onto Leodog and knocking down one more stock. Now Boise State on their last stock with Michigan State on their last 2 for this match. Boise State close to getting a knockout here. Now 1-1. If Boise State can take this, they can go to the next match, but they'll be at 1 stock. So all Leodog can do here is try to end this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't even matter if you go up really high in percentage because it'll all get taken back down to 0 once you get back into the next round. But, I mean, you got to stay in 1 stock to keep yourself going. And Leodog needs to find something with this stock he has here. Finding the early stock on Corden is going to be imperative, but with Corden going crazy in the air, it's going to be a little bit harder to get stuff done. Got the swallow. Manages to eat and it's the hit off. Is it going to be enough?
They get the ledge guard. Corden is going to go to the ledge. The Gordo goes out. They dodge it, but they don't dodge Leodog, throwing another Gordo. Name of the game is trying to block it, but Corden is able to dodge it this time, getting back to the middle. The advantage of the ledge is gone, but they are ready. Boise State just needs that one good hit to get the knockout here. Can they find it? Corden doesn't want them to. Close and rough, going to get the grab. Knocks them onto the ledge. This could be it if Boise State can get it. They can go for the punish.
But the spike!
But they aren't able to. And with that, Boise State is going to lose the first of the best of 3 here.
That was an unfortunate... I'm not sure if it was an SD or a spike. It looked like a spike to me. But that was... definitely a choice by Leodog to go down and chase. But
I mean,
it could have worked.
At the end of the day... Right, if the game ended, he wouldn't have lost the stock, and he was either, like, he was in a rough position either way, and so it definitely was, like, a choice to make, but overall, you know, when the cards were down the way they were, it's not the craziest thing you could have chosen to do.
Yeah, I mean, you could have done the old DDSD guarantee a stock by
where you just like
you just eat them and then you jump off the ledge.
You could do that, yeah, but that also has some risk of potentially getting yourself knocked out too before them, which is always.
I mean, with DDD, you have like I think 5 jumps if I remember right, and then you also have arguably the highest recovery in the game. So I mean, you got a pretty good chance if you spit them out early enough.
Yeah, it just depends, right? And you have to set it up right. And in general, they can be rough things to pull off. But as we are getting ready to jump into the second of the best of 3 here, we'd like to thank our local dairy farm families as proud fueling partners of our Boise State esports athletes. Dairy foods provide the protein to rebuild, hydration to recover, and natural electrolytes to replenish post-activity. Fuel your greatness with dairy.
And it looks like we're going to be jumping straight into the next game, and it looks like Mata is going to be the one up first to bat with Pikachu against the Banjo and Kazooie.
All right.
Always fun to watch.
I am a fan of Banjo. I think this is going to be a good matchup for Pikachu, though. Speed is a good thing to have against Banjo, considering the Wonder Wing is such a nasty ability to get stocks lost off of, but also being a lighter character, you'll have to be careful of the grenades and the Wonder Wing, as mentioned earlier, as we see Banjo going for the aerial assaults here.
Also, you can't forget that Wonder Wing is a limited resource off of Banjo, so if Mata is able to pressure out that Wonder Wing over and over and over again, it's not going to be available for when Banjo needs it. Of course, it does replenish off of a lost stock, but it may not matter if it just gets used willy-nilly, and Banjo knows that. Both characters exchanging blows, not quite able to get really good combos going, but Banjo has a slight advantage here, being that little bit heavier character, and they're at around the same percentage-wise. But not with the Wonder Wing.
Yeah, and with that, Banjo trying to go for the ledge guard, does back off, giving Pikachu some space to get up, and he does get the grab off. Throwing Banjo to the side, the Wonder Wing goes out, and with the amount of damage onto Pikachu already, it sends him flying, opening an opportunity here for Michigan to get the first stock.
Yeah, Pikachu and Banjo, it is a great matchup between the two of them, but if Pikachu lets his guard down even for a second, all that damage that Banjo is capable of is going to be detrimental. But now with Banjo at almost over 100%, it's going to be a little bit harder to keep himself in the game. But luckily, Banjo has a pretty good recovery, but with Wonder Wing running out, he's only got 1 more left in the tank. Can Pikachu keep pressuring it out, or is Banjo going to keep holding on?
Oh, we'll see here with the grab. This could be an opportunity. Tries to go for the Thunderbolt as well, but isn't able to get it through. 153 to 27. Pikachu doesn't want to take too much damage here, but has Banjo on the ropes if they can find that one opportunity. Banjo, however, turns the tables here, getting some more grenades off. Just once again, racking up that damage and keeping distance with their projectiles. Oh, he is going to get the stock, but goes up to 66% as a result.
Yeah, Banjo hits like a truck, and Kazooie hits even harder with Wonder Wing. But now Banjo has all of his Wonder Wings left, and Pikachu's gonna find that out the hard way. 111 just to start off, and Banjo hasn't even passed 10. That is not a great spot to be in if you are playing against this heavy-hitting character. But at the same time, Pikachu finds a way to get the combos going. Not quite enough to put him back in the game, but enough to keep him at a relatively good spot. As long as he can keep Banjo in that uncomfortable position, but manages to get in the way of Wonder Wing during the recovery. That's a lot of damage.
Ooh, and a lot of damage, down to 0 now. Boise State on their last stop for this match, with Banjo holding strong on his second. Boise State's in trouble here if they can't find a way to get some more damage onto Banjo and bring it down to a 1-to-1 stock difference.
You know, we say a lot about Ness being a very projectile spammy character with PK Fire, but I mean, Banjo and Kazooie, he doesn't have an iconic voice line for it, but we've seen all throughout this game all the grenades that get thrown out, and I'm surprised that even Banjo is able to keep track of them all. But going into this, Pikachu needs to make up some serious ground here. Banjo is at a good spot to be taken down, but Pikachu needs to find a good way to do it. But Banjo isn't letting them even have an inch here. Gets knocked off the stage. Pikachu trying to keep him off there where he wants him. But with grenades flying onto the stage, it's going to be harder to take him off. But there we go. Pikachu manages to even things out 1-1. Although Banjo still has a pretty good advantage percentage-wise.
1-1 here now. So Pikachu at a higher damage point. We see right now, yep, on the ledge, Pikachu looking for that opportunity, trying to capitalize on it, but Banjo holding strong and reading through that, going to use the grenades once again to gain some space and just rack up the damage. The Wonder Wing doesn't go through, but they're holding strong right now, trying to use these grenades to their fullest potential here. Let's see, 85 to 29. Oh, another Wonder Wing down. Banjo down to their last Wonder Wing and their last stock. This could be exactly what Boise State needs to turn the tides in their favor here. Looking for that opportunity. He is off the ledge. Michigan State has officially lost their Wonder Wing, and any really good side-to-side horizontal recovery for Banjo.
Yeah, that is a huge part of Banjo's kit that is completely off the table. But at the same time, as long as he's only getting shot downward, his upward special has plenty of vertical mobility to keep him in this game. Both players at high percentage points and almost taken out. Pikachu might be able to find something here if he's just able to find one on Banjo. But even without Wonder Wing, that Kazooie, that ability to poke out is really dangerous, and we see it there. There we go. Up tilt is able to take out Pikachu, and Banjo and Kazooie, even with no Wonder Wings, are able to take the first round with a single stock remaining.
I mean, they use the Wonder Wings to their full advantage, and with that are able to take the lead once again. Kind of a similar story to what we saw from the previous matchup, so Boise State will have to think hard about how they want to handle this. And it does look like we might be seeing a little bit of a mix-up in the characters as well. A potential Pyra/Mythra and a Falco on the side of the Spartans. Boise State now has to try and adjust how they might go about this as well, which it looks like they are, as we see Gokis on Joker potentially going to be jumping into the ring to join the fight.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of success out of Joker in the past, and honestly, I think he's more of a situational pick that you pick into somebody. He's one of those characters that can do a lot of damage and in a very short amount of time, especially with the ability to use Arsene, being a percentage-based damaging, almost a guard of sorts. It's a resource counter for sure, but it can do a lot of damage if left unchecked. So it'll be interesting to see when they decide to play that Joker card. It's definitely a situational card, but we've seen it work well in the past.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how Boise State chooses to go into this next matchup, if they'll go with the Joker or if they will be swapping into a different character, one that we've already seen this matchup to deal with Banjo and Kazooie as they get ready to go into this match here. I do think, in general, it's going to be, Banjo with one stock isn't the scariest, but he can still do a lot of damage. So as we jump in, it does look like we will not be seeing Joker just yet, and it will be Olimar going up against the Bird and the Bear with his Pikmin.
The Bird and the Bear against the man who can control vegetables. That might not be good. Kazooie eats her vegetables all the time. But you never know. I think Olimar is the right pick here, being able to control the stage a little bit better than Banjo and Kazooie.
Yeah, he doesn't have to get up close and personal with Banjo and risk these powerful strikes, but unfortunately, Banjo is clearing the gap anyway here.
The Wonder Wing
goes through. This could be a good moment, but there's another Wonder Wing to use, though 2 down already. Means a great spot for Boise State here, and with the purple Pikmin out, they have some good ammunition to deal with, and it looks like the grenades are not fully clearing Pikmin as well. One more down. Olimar is in a rough spot here. Going to have to dodge those grenades to the best of their ability, avoiding the ledge guard carefully, but these high damage percentages are in a knockout zone already if Banjo looks for them.
Yeah, but Banjo is almost out of Wonder Wings already. Olimar hasn't lost his first stock yet. He is fairly high, but with only 1 left to go, that is not a great spot for the Banjo to be put into. Not having that offensive option or the recovery option is going to be a little bit difficult, and especially with all the pressure from the Pikmin coming out. Olimar doing a little bit better job of staying away, but not good enough. Banjo manages to find one stock, and that's all he needed to keep the lead in favor of the Spartans.
Yeah, but he's definitely going to keep looking for more if he can, racking up damage once again onto the Broncos as Olimar has to back off a bit here. Can't just immediately run into this fight or suffer the consequences. They want this stock from Banjo, but he is not letting them find it here once again. But with that, the Wonder Wings are gone. Banjo losing an important resource and a way to move around, so they'll have to tread more carefully, but not ready to give up that ledge just yet. Michigan versus Boise here still with Olimar holding on, but at some high damage numbers, this could be an opportunity for Banjo to take another stock. Will he be able to do it?
Yeah, all Banjo has to do is stay in this game, and with a really good shot onto Olimar, sending him to the other side of the stage, it puts him in a good position to do so. And the spike off the bottom. What a play out of Banjo, taking it down to a 1-1 and expanding the lead to 2. You're right, he is not just looking for the one, he's looking for the whole basket. And honestly, if this keeps up, he may get it. Olimar needs to find something to put this bear back in the cage.
We'll have to see, though, if he'll be able to find it with the grenades out and the platform giving Banjo some room to work with in the middle. Olimar is not able to find his footing here. The Broncos are trying to find their opportunity.
And he finds
They find it with the blue Pikmin.
Took a little longer than expected, but he found it in the end, and that's what needs to happen.
That is a rough spot for Boise State to be, though. They are now in a much more uncomfortable position. One stock down onto Olimar left with the 2-stock lead on Michigan State's side. If they want to be able to come back from this, as this is Michigan State, all they really need to do is win this one outright to be able to take the series overall, the game overall. This is a
or in their favor,
position.
anyway.
Yeah, well, no, if they take this entire one, they win because they'll be 2 of 3. I guess is what I was trying to say.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I thought you meant, like, take the game overall, and I'm like, that's not how math works.
But overall, yeah, I mean, this is being on one stock as Olimar is scary, considering who you might be going up against, and it looks like it's going to be Pyra Mythra.
Yeah, Olimar works really well as a counter pick to other characters, but he struggles into characters that are picked especially to go up against him. I believe we've seen this Pyra Mythra play into Olimar before, and while Olimar was able to hold his own, I believe it was the Pyra Mythra combo that was able to come out on top in the end. They just have so much versatility when it comes to how they play. You want to play a little bit farther back, you want to get a little bit better range, you play Mythra. You want to play up close and personal, always in your face, you play a bit of Pyra, and you can always swap it up on the fly with being such a versatile character. But we are seeing Olimar taking an early percentage lead, but Pyra and Mythra quick to close that gap, being able to get so much damage in such a small amount of time.
Keeping even in the damage percentages, however, Olimar is holding on. The Broncos are not just taking any hits without giving it back. Looking for those opportunities right now. Mythra using the speed to jump out here and taking some damage from the red Pikmin. Mythra is going to swap out to Pyra, though, so Olimar better watch out. Those powerful attacks could be the knockout zone that the Spartans are looking for, and now at over 100%, Olimar needs to be very careful here.
Yeah, especially with the ledge guarding potential of Pyra. Being able to throw her sword out to the side and deal a lot of damage, even more than Palutena's side special. And as you saw there, it also has quite a bit of kickback too. With it now on the edge, Olimar is able to dodge it, but unfortunately loses one of his Pikmin in the process. And it was a flowered Pikmin too, meaning it did a little bit more damage than a lot of the other ones. But with that upturn, he's taking a little bit of an advantage on the ground anyways. And now he's got to find a way to keep a little bit of distance while also dealing some damage. Pyra unable to find a way in, but with the down air is able to close it out without losing a stock, putting Michigan State and the Spartans a whole character in this matchup.
Yeah, starting to gain more of a lead now Boise State has the opportunity to try and cut that off right here, right now. This is the moment. With only 2 characters left, they have to decide Joker or King Dedede. Who will they attempt to use as their anchor, and who are they going to try and use as the spear to cut through this and prevent Michigan from running away with it?
You know, I would say that I would guess it would be Joker. We've seen Leodog time and time again as the anchor of this team. We know why they are the anchor of this team, because we've seen how well they do under pressure. And I think Joker is a little bit better of a pick here. Pyramithra does a lot of damage in really short bursts, so maybe that down special out of Joker, Rebel Guard, being able to build up that persona meter a little bit faster, maybe use it a few times before they reach that 150 mark where it's almost a death sentence. But then my prediction gets thrown right out the window as we go with King Dedede for this next round matchup.
You know, I was going to say, I was waiting for you to finish to say, you know, I think I actually might see King Dedede here, but, you know, you're just going to have to trust that that was my pick and my read before we saw the actual matchup go out, as we jump right into it, both at 3 stocks here. It's going to be a battle of the power attacks to see who will be able to take this. And right now, Mithra getting some quick attacks off and coming in for the knockout. However, Dedede is going to be able to hang on, not get knocked out just yet. Great control there from Leodog here, as he needs to look for that damage to be able to even it up and not lose any stocks here. Great dodge from Pyra's large attack now, 98 to 58% with that. It's going to be a tough battle to climb back up, but Boise State is looking for that opportunity, getting the swallow off too, putting them on the ledge. The Spartans are not able to get away from the Gordo here, as now they have to watch out. Almost shield break. Got close, but not close enough. Looking for the potential punish on ledge, is not able to go through and put on the back foot, but going for the knockout. They are able to get that first. Boise State staying on 3, the Spartans on 2 stocks.
This is what Boise needed, just an early advantage against Pyramithra. Pyramithra does a lot of damage really fast, as this Dedede saw at that first beginning volley, but then you put them on edge, they can't really get their combos going, and that's how you beat a Pyramithra, especially with a character that can deal so much damage. As you see here, Pyramithra already up to 90, and Dedede has yet to take an attack, but there we go. Pyramithra starting to take a little bit of damage in return through the stage, I might add. Dedede's hammer can phase through matter, but there we go. 2 stocks for the price of none. Dedede managing to hold on, and he might just be able to even things out for Boise State.
Yeah, high damage, but not deterred just yet. Boise State knows that if they let go of this momentum that they have, Mithra could run away with it here, as they have to avoid any dangerous attacks from Pyra, but able to not take the knockout here. I mean, from middle of the stage, that attack didn't have enough momentum, and Boise State is able to use it. Now, almost at 200%, still holding on, but not long enough, as they are going to lose their first stock in the matchup, but they do get the grab onto the Spartans here, knocking them off the ledge. This could be a knockout zone if they can find it, but Mithra is still able to get around them, and the Spartans aren't going to go down just yet, not wanting to go onto the ledge with Dedede, at least unless they have the upper hand, which they seem to have right now, but with the recovery on Dedede's side, is able to avoid it and prevent them from getting the full knockout, instead knocking them out with the Gordo. And now Leodog looking to even it up a little bit here, not fully, but it is a good spot to be, going from a full character to just 1 stock.
Yeah, that's what you want to see out of this situation. And I mean, that was honestly the best case scenario. You can't really go into a match
from a penguin to a penguin. Yeah. I think I have approval from our little sunglassed friend watching Dedede go after.
We gotta get him like a stuffed hammer. Like Dedede's hammer. Or maybe a real hammer too. He might be able to cause some violence, but I mean, that is the best case scenario for Dedede. You can't go into matches of this caliber without experiencing a little, at least some damage in the form of a stock. But at the same time, that was very detrimental for the Spartans. They might not have lost the lead, but they have lost a really good potential to expand it.
Ooh, but he is going up against a fairly fast opponent in Falco, who does have reflection for the Gordos, so it's going to be a much tougher matchup here for Boise State as they get into it, and they not only have to deal with all of that, but they are at a one-stock deficit here. All Boise State really needs to do is, if they can't knock out this Falco, they do need to set it up for the Joker. Will Boise State be able to do it? Well, with the amount of damage, it's going to be a rough spot for Leodog here.
Yeah, especially with Falcon not giving an inch to work with, already taking down a stock. This is giving me flashbacks to Melee. You just can't get close to him. He does too much damage too fast. But DDD is starting to get a few attacks off. I mean, it's not going to be quite enough in the grand scheme of things, but now starting to make a little bit of space. He just needs to prevent this Falco from getting anywhere close to him. Or I guess I should say close enough for him to hit, but not for the hammer to miss. And from the looks of things, Falco is just doing a great job at keeping DDD at a arm's length, or a wing's length in this case, dealing tons of damage, not letting him get close. As you can see here, not a lot of high damage attacks, but enough low damage ones to put DDD on the back foot.
116-67, getting a good hit off onto Falco. Boise State using the stage to their advantage as best they can, trying to avoid getting hit by any of the dashes here. Not able to fully get through, as on their last stock, this is a rough spot for DDD here. But with that, they do get Falco off the ledge, not able to use their movement as much as they would like here. Using the shield to try and get away from any nasty attacks. They do get launched in the air. This could be a knockout zone, but DDD is able to avoid it here. Now at almost 173, Falco finds the combo they're looking for, knocking DDD out and not losing a stock. So Michigan is going to go back to that 3-stock lead, leaving it all up to Gokis here. Yeah, Gokis is going to have to complete a 6-3 sweep. That is a very tall order, but we've seen it done in the past. It's going to be very difficult. I cannot express how difficult it'll be. But at the same time, game's on the line. He's going to like awaken a flow state or something. Something's going to happen. He's going to go in there and just wreck house with the Joker. Joker can pull it off. That's definitely, I think the only thing Joker really is going to suffer from is that some of their most powerful abilities are more dependent on their damage percentages, which is not something you like to see when you only have 3 stocks to work with. But we'll have to see how it goes going into it right off the bat, because neither of them have to reduce their stock count here. We're going to jump into it. Falco using some of their more ranged abilities to then move in close and get those combos off, not letting Joker really touch the ground or get into the air. It's going to be a rough spot to be in, though we are getting close to Arsene, and with this last attack, Arsene is active. Falco will have to try and do their best to dodge it, which so far they have, not taking any damage yet from Gokis. Yeah, yet to take anything, but there we go. Gokis finally finding a few hits off, and with a lot of Arsene left, this is where you want to be, using that really powerful Arsene moveset to get your opponent back up to where you want them. But in order to do that, you do need to find a lot more hits than what Joker is finding. With Falco finding really good combos, there goes Arsene off of Joker, and now Joker's either going to have to wait for his next one, try to farm the Falco, or try and go in with his regular base moveset, which is going to be incredibly difficult. Yeah, already in some pretty high percentages here. Joker does find a hit, but doesn't find the combo that they're looking for. They do get the grab off, though. Goki's able to bring Falco to the ledge, but not really able to make much of it with the just speed and recovery that Falco does have. Launching them into the air now, using that ranged capability to their utmost potential, but both players are getting into those danger zones. Joker creating some space for themselves, now able to kind of get close to an upper hand. Arsene is close to being active. Falco will have to be careful how much they push Joker here. Could be the difference between knocking out Joker's stock or being knocked out. Yeah, at the same time, though, Joker will be at around 150% by the time Arsene does come online. And at the same time, while Arsene is incredibly scary, it's easy to knock him out at this high of percentage. I was right on the money with 150%, though. And now Falco kind of has to make a choice. Do you wait this out, or do you try and go for the kill? And it looks like Falco, ever being aggressive, is going to take him. But I think Joker is going to return the favor here pretty quick. Not quite able to find it off of the throw. Falco's actually able to get back onto stage, too. Yeah, Falco hanging on. Not for long, though. And with that, evened up 2-2 here.
Evened out 2-2. We're right back to almost 0-0, right where we started, but Falco once again taking an early lead. Getting a little bit of deja vu here. Both two fast characters with a lot of similarities in their kits. Both can do a lot of damage with a lot of moves chained together that don't deal a ton on their own. But out comes Arsene, and looks like Joker is going to have a slight advantage here, but Falco, being ever aggressive, is not going to let him keep that ability for long. Already, Arsene is down to its last quarter, and Falco has yet to take any significant damage from Joker.
Yeah, holding onto ledge doesn't do much as Arsene disappears, and Falco capitalizing on that brings Joker down to their last stock.
Yeah, Joker needs to find something here really fast, either a lot of damage or a really sneaky stock taken off, maybe a cheeky spike off of the side. But I mean, we've seen it happen before, could happen again. At the same time, probably unlikely here, but Joker has Arsene though, or
Kind of
Persona.
seen how this might go though, and so the question is, will they have learned from how Falco handled it before? It doesn't look like it fully does gain some momentum, able to get an attack off with the shield, takes the brunt of the damage here. A little bit more even in percentages though when you're on your last stock, not where you want to be. We see Gokis is able to get some shots off onto Falco here, but Falco, seeing that Arsene is almost out, goes to push that momentum near the ledge. This could be the knockout zone that Falco is looking for, and Boise State knows that, bringing Falco to the ledge instead.
Oh,
the
there
spike.
we go.
That's exactly what you wanted to see, and it looks like you're being fed tonight with those spikes. That's now our second stage spike there, my goodness.
Yeah, one for each team. Falco needs to prove that he can stay in this game, but with Joker at 100, there we go. He's gonna find it, and even with a really good spike, it's not gonna quite be enough. Michigan is going to take this game 2-0.
Yeah, and with that, Spartans down. Not all their characters able to take the 2-0 victory from Boise State here. Congratulations to Michigan State for that win. It was a well-fought battle for both teams, but ultimately the Spartans were able to take that for their team this week. However, that isn't the only matchup we will see tonight, so Boise State will get the chance to show us if they will be able to take the win or if they will go 2-0, I suppose. We'll have to see how that ends up going, though, as we get ready to get into that matchup. We will go to a quick break.
Idaho's Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Is your IT setup held together by duct tape and hope? Don't worry, Alpine IT Group has your back. We handle on-site support, service desks, cloud management, office phone systems, mobile device management, and more. And the best part, we can fix things remotely, so you can concentrate on your clients. Call Alpine IT Group at 1-888-720-4769 or visit alpineitgroup.com today. Scaling success together and completely duct tape free.
At Blue Ribbon Painting, we're proud to be a locally family-owned and operated business dedicated to bringing your vision to life. Whether it's freshening up your home with interior or exterior painting or tackling a commercial project, we've got you covered. When you choose Blue Ribbon Painting, you're not just hiring painters. You're getting a team that's committed to making your vision a reality. Call or text us at 208-369-2583 or visit us at blueribbonpainting.net. Your project deserves a blue ribbon finish.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
This stock cleanly as the Spartans are gunning for the second one here already.
Yeah, and with both players at around the same percentage points, they're both at equal. They have the equal shot at being taken out first. And it looks like it's going to go to PSU. They're going to take this down to a 2-2. But at the same time, Boise
being a little how they handle it, able to get the jump onto Leodog and knocking down one more stock. Now Boise State on their last stock with Michigan State on their last two for this match. Boise State close to getting a knockout here. Now 1-1. If Boise State can take this, they can.
Up, he may get it. Olimar needs to find something to put this bear back in the cage.
We'll have to see, though, if he'll be able to find it with the grenades out and the platform giving Banjo some room to work with in the middle. Omar is not able to find his footing here. The Broncos are trying to find their opportunity.
And he finds
they find it with the blue Pikmin.
Took a little longer than that. And it looks like Falco, ever being aggressive, is going to take him. But I think Joker is going to return the favor here pretty quick. Not quite able to find it off of the throw. Falco's actually able to get back onto stage, too.
Yeah, Falco hanging on. Not for long, though, and with that, evened up 2-2. Can find it, but Mithra is still able to get around them, and the Spartans aren't going to go down just yet. Not wanting to go onto the ledge with DDD, at least unless they have the upper hand, which they seem to have right now, but with the recovery on DDD's side, is able to avoid it and prevent them from getting the full knockout instead. Knocking. And welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena as we continue our coverage of the Power Esports Conference Super Smash Bros. Team for Boise State. So far tonight, we have seen Michigan State Spartans versus the Boise State Broncos. Ultimately, Michigan State taking the match 2-0, but now the Broncos will be going up against the University of Oklahoma Sooners to see if they'll be able to kind of make something of what happened earlier, see if they can take a win tonight or if they will end up taking two losses. My name is Audrey Norris, covering all the action with Bryce Jensen as we get ready to see the Sooners versus the Broncos. Well, with what we saw earlier, Boise State did have a lot of really good comebacks, but ultimately got stuck in a stock deficit. With this next matchup, that would absolutely be the worst thing to happen again. So what do you think, with what we saw earlier, you might see interesting for going up against the Sooners, or something that Boise State could do to shake it up?
I feel like there were a few really interesting character selections that sort of played against Boise State when it came to this matchup. Like, for instance, the final one. I know it's the final, so you don't exactly have a ton of choice in who you select, but Joker is a great character to play against characters like Falco, both being really fast, both being able to deal a ton of damage, but unfortunately, Falco has a lot more speed, a lot more base damage than a lot of those other characters. Then we move on to other matchups, like the mirror matchup between Palutinas, and those ones just came down to a little bit better skill, a little bit better mechanics, and I think if Boise really wants to win against Oklahoma, they need to improve on those fundamental mechanics that maybe lost them a few of the stocks that they should have gained in their last matchup against the Spartans.
Yeah, overall, I think, also some of it is just that natural deficit can really, really hurt. Boise State did manage to come back from it a couple times, but when you're stuck one less stock than your opponent, it really can make the difference, and ultimately it is what I think hurt Boise State in the end when they got passed from the 1 stock to the 3 stock. But Boise State has, gained some experience, have figured out what is going on, and will be going into this next matchup. Now, we do see some characters from the previous matchup, Falco and Pyra Mithra, who definitely were a pain for Boise State, but we also see some different characters as well with Byleth and, it's Setharoth. Setharoth will be fun. It's been a little bit since I've seen him. 2
characters with really, really comically big swords on the same team. I mean, Byleth less so. That one is makes a little bit more sense since it's also a whip.
I think if I remember, the hilt is also really big, but we'll, be able to see where that ends up going shortly as we jump into the matchup of the Sooners versus the Broncos. Jumping right into it, we see Joker versus Setharoth, the battle of the knife and the katana. Well, not the katana, it's just a long... it's a
katana. It's an Uchi katana. It's a longer form of the katana, but unfortunately for Boise State, it looks like although we are 1-1 in the stocks, Joker is hurting quite a bit for both resources and currently percentage. Sephiroth starting to gain some damage. Joker holding on. Honestly, a really good matchup for Joker, being a lot more of a melee character-centric fight here, but they do have to be careful with the range that Sephiroth has. So far, just kind of holding strong for Boise State here. This is also a good stage for both of these opponents, really, just long with a lot of opportunities, and we see right now both of them kind of looking for that ledge. Sephiroth gets the grab. This could be the knockout for Joker. But Joker denies it. 130 to 90%. And he gets it.
Read there from the Sephiroth, able to, not the Sephiroth, bad read for the Setharoth, great read for the Joker. With that, Gokis is able to take the first round for Boise State.
Hey, we may not have seen half of it, but we did get the parts that mattered. That was incredible play out of Joker, just being able to get in, do a lot of damage, get out, and then also, you wouldn't expect a guy who brings a knife to a sword fight to win, but Joker finds a way.
Out for him. And if anything, also a great feeling for Gokis, going from what was the really rough matchups in the previous match against the Spartans, now coming into one that was, still a very close matchup, but ultimately goes to the Broncos. So a good spot to be in for Boise State here, especially because what you talked about, earlier, Joker's great for those counter picks. Getting that first knockout out the way for Gokis, being able to bring out a knockout, is a really good spot to be, depending on who he's going to be going up against next, as there is a lot of rough characters.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of rough matchups when it comes to Joker, but getting that out of the way in the beginning makes it a lot better for the team. And in the end, as long as they are able to keep that snowball rolling, it should be a little bit easier for them to get stuff done.
Yeah. It does look like we might be doing a reset, actually, to kind of see what we missed, perchance, as we get ready to go into the matchups here. I do believe that's what it might be. No, never mind.
It's going to be a Palutena Pit matchup. I think we're restarting here.
Yeah. So, anyway,
ignore what we said for 5 minutes.
We'll get
None
there.
of that matters.
We'll get there eventually. For now, it's going to be Palutena versus Pitt, which, get a little bit of the...
It's kind of thematic.
I was going to say, it's thematic, yeah.
I mean, we haven't gotten a Kid Icarus game in, 20 years? We're due for another one, but at the same time, it's...
Don't say it. That's how you delay the games longer,
Well, I mean, if it's been 20 years, I doubt. Unfortunately, I love Kid Icarus and all,
However, we get to see them brawl it out in Super Smash Bros. As already Pitt taking a lot of damage here from Boise State. The Sooners looking for their opportunity, but getting denied. Palutena watching the ledge like a hawk, taking that first stock.
Yeah, that's a great spot to get for Palutena as well. Pitt, being a super melee-focused character, is going to struggle a lot into the more zony play style of Palutena. And so far, we've seen that matchup play out around the way that you'd expect. Palutena yet to take any real significant damage, and Pitt is already into his knockout range. While he does have a pretty good recovery, he's going to have a lot of road to make up in order to get himself back into this competition, but he's making that up really fast. That curving arrow is going to take Palutena around similar percentage to the Pitt, and let's just hope for Palutena's sake that she can keep this lead rolling.
Well, we'll have to see here. Pitt tries to go for it, but gets parried and is going to get knocked off the ledge once more. Palutena looking for those ledge guards can be very dangerous, but Pitt is getting wiser to that attack and able to dodge it this time around, bringing up the damage percentages a lot closer. They're both right there, looking for those potential range opportunities. Pitt leaps in to get the attack off, putting Palutena on the ledge themselves this time. Now looking for that ledge guard. They see it and get the grab off, which almost is the knockout. But Boise State holds on, going back to ledge for round 2 here. Now going towards the middle of the stage, using some ranged, just kind of getting some space here. Not really using any ranged attacks yet, but just gaining that space. Boise State looking for that opportunity, which they do find to bring him back to the ledge. Pitt looking for the stock, is able to get past with that aforementioned solid recovery.
Man, just barely too. Threaded the needle between a rock and a hard place. Pitt almost went down, and there we go. Edge guard out of Palutena is going to do Pitt in for a second stock. However, he's set himself up in a good position to get it to at least a 2-1. And honestly, I think Pitt can do it. We've seen a lot of evolution in his play style going from the past few stocks, and there we go. Manages to find it, evening it out at 0-0, but Palutena does still have the stock advantage.
Yeah, we'll have to see where this goes here now. Though Palutena not going to just let this, slide easily. Dr. Delulu not wanting to give them any ground, but both of them having some ranged opportunities means that there is not a lot of room for Palutena to just zone out the Pit here. However, going up into the melee, they are able to find some success using their shield to dodge any dangerous attacks as they look for the next kind of ledge back and forth, which hasn't seemed to happen. Pitt trying to find it, not able to. Palutena just denying any chance to really get them into a knockout zone.
Yeah, Palutena really just kind of struggling to hit the ground on this one. Pitt is able to just hold that ground position with his up tilt and just make sure that Palutena isn't able to get on, and that's going to do Palutena in. The up tilt is able to bring them down to 1 stock, same as the Pitt. But now Pitt is sharing Palutena's fate for the past 2 stocks, off the stage and in the air in a bad spot, not quite where he wants to be, but he's got an opportunity to get back onto the stage. We've seen it several times. He's been able to take these advantages and turn them into disadvantages for Palutena, but at 123, it's going to be significantly more difficult.
Yeah, and with that getting launched off the stage once again, Palutena looking for that opportunity in a very comfortable spot. All they know is one good hit could send Pitt flying, and it does. Now back off the ledge, Pitt needs to be careful about their next choices. They know what's coming, and they're able to avoid it, dealing more damage to the Palutena, but it's not enough just yet. Boise State still feeling comfortable, going to knock Pitt off the ledge once more, setting up the explosion and knocking them out. With that, now going to take the first round with a stock, but instead of what we thought it is going to be Palutena.
Yeah, it's going to be Palutena against Pitt. But in the end, it is still 1 stock down, or it is 1 player down, 1 stock lead for Dr. Delulu, and that is a much better position to be in than where they found themselves up against Michigan State. Having even a smaller lead is definitely
I mean, this is exactly what
spot.
Michigan State had, was the 1 stock lead. So now going into this, instead of being against the 1 stock lead, Boise State has the 1 stock lead. And so it will really just come down to what characters get matched up against Palutena here to try and knock them out. And honestly, Palutena is in a pretty good spot overall, but Byleth might be that knockout that they're looking for. We haven't seen Byleth yet, or at least it's been a while since I've seen a Byleth, but with the versatility of their